All right, how is everyone doing? I am Rich CELENZA. Thanks for tuning into the Rich CELENZA Show. WTF are you talking about? So, what I want to get into on this podcast is basically for men to learn how to date or marry successful women or a successful woman, obviously. So, I think when it comes a lot of times to dating, especially younger men, at least from what I see, is a lot of times men are intimidated by somebody, or women I should say, that make more money than them, or are more educated than them, or just have their shit together way more than they do. I remember the one thing when I was very young is I used to say, I wanted to, whatever the case, I wanted to date an extremely beautiful woman, I think like a lot of men did. And I wanted, though, first and foremost, to be around the most educated and smartest woman and women. But it was very kind of bipolar for me in my life because I was in nightclubs a lot of times, in bars, in gentlemen's clubs. So I was around a lot of alcoholics, drug addicts, along with a lot of beautiful women. But I definitely knew I wanted the opposite of that woman when it came to a relationship or getting married. And that always was on my mind, right? And I'm not going to get into my ex-wife, who I think is extremely brilliant, smart woman, balls to the wall, was, for that point in time, it took a certain type of woman to deal with me. And then I think it took a certain type of man like myself to deal with somebody like her who was so career-driven, still is. So what's interesting is I think a lot of men get insecure when they get around career-orientated women, or even in college. Because even when I was dating my ex-wife, when she was going through college, I told her, I never even visited her once in her college. I think she got a 2-year degree in 4 years, but I said, go to college, because we were even dating when she was getting out of high school. I moved to Florida, and, you're debating on what schools to go to. I was like, go. I don't want to bother you. I want you to get the best degree. She was into computer engineering, I think, and at that point in time. I'm like, go. Go do your thing. I do not want to be a distraction. And then when she got out of college, she was doing more education than she did. And this is crazy because I'm going back to the late 80s when she was like kicking it in the ass, even doing a career where she was traveling in her job at a very young age all over North America regarding this company she worked for. I don't even want to mention them, but they were very small then. There was only a few of them. Now they're massive. They're massive. I can't even tell you. They basically work with every dealership now in the country. I mean, legitimately, they created something that they all have. And she was on the ground floor with that, and then, whatever the case may be, she moved on. But my point being is, and I teach this in my Mastering Self-Confidence, here's the thing. A lot of guys end up with a lot of dumb women, I'd hate to say it, and a lot of women end up with dumb men. But if you end up dating somebody who's dumb or needs all your, stability financially, and you can kind of control them, men or women, whatever, but I'm basing this on men, and then you marry them, you don't get a prenup, that's on your ass, and then you get a divorce, and you end up paying a ton of money alimony, you may end up paying a ton of money child support, that's on you, okay? And I'm not saying, too, if you marry somebody who's educated and has their shit together that has a lot of money, they're not going to still come after you for money if you get a divorce. But here's the thing, if you get a divorce, who do you want raising your kids? Do you want somebody educated or not educated? So when you're dating women, or if you're getting married, again, you have to look at, if you do get this woman pregnant, or if you do get, marry this person, how do you think the future is going to be with this type of person? And how are they going to raise your kids? But I don't think a lot of men realize this because they get caught up more in the beauty aspect of it. And I'm not saying all women that are beautiful are dumb. That is not the case. But a lot of men date women they know they shouldn't be with, they don't have a lot in common with, or that aren't that sharp, or not that good with money, or have issues. It could be with drugs, alcohol, emotional issues, all these things, but they will put up with a lot of the bullshit because of the beauty. And I always talk about this in my Mastering Self-Confidence with Men, is beauty is the worst investment you can ever make. Eventually, for the most part, everyone deteriorates. And I don't mean that but everybody gets older. Most people, women, they lose their looks. They're not going to look the same way. Some do get prettier as they get older. But what I'm saying is eventually we all just get older. And They're not going to always look that way, and nobody's going to always act that way. Physically, they're not going to probably look that way. You have to acknowledge that at a young age, but a lot of guys don't. They also, a lot of times, like I like to talk about, they like who likes them. So if you're single and any girl comes up to you, if they're smart, dumb, whatever the case may be, you'll just like them because they like you or they gave you attention. Another loser. But I'm not going to get into all that right now. What I am going to get into is please start to learn to put yourself, first of all, raise your own standard. You right now have to realize a lot of men, especially if you're younger, you're not going to be in this position that you're in right now forever. You're probably not going to be in the same position in a year and then 3 years, 5 years. You may be wealthier, you may be poorer. I don't know what position you're in, but you do want to most likely, hopefully, think that you're going to be progressing forward and you're going to have more or be doing more. I don't always even mean financially, but you're going to evolve as a human being. Hopefully you'll be a lot smarter. You're going to learn a lot of different things. You're not going to be the same person you are most likely in years to come. You want to grow with somebody. My theory is, for most people, and they don't do this, especially younger guys, is you want to find somebody who's, I think, very smart, that can teach you things. Also somebody who knows how to handle money and knows how to hold her own. They know how to stay financially stable. You never know what's going to happen to you. Even in a relationship, you may marry this girl, you may end up dead. She has 2 kids. How is she going to hold it together? You may get a divorce, separated. How is she going to hold it together? You want somebody that you can really depend on, right? Emotionally and financially. That doesn't mean she has to support you when I say find somebody like this too, okay? You have to realize I'm talking about somebody that's either on the same level with you, hopefully, or somebody that is just really kind of going places, really wants to really do certain things. And again, even if you can come across a lot of wonderful women that aren't so career driven, you know they want to be mothers, and they want to be great mothers. They're very smart, may not even be in financing, maybe in other things as well. I don't know what that is. Could be anything. You want to find the right one again that has the interest, the best for both of you is what I should say. Not just for her, because as you know, a lot of men, especially if you're younger, you start dating these women, it's all about them. They want to be taken here, they want this or that, whatever the case may be. And I also think, I'm going to say this, a lot of women now in their careers are becoming more and more successful. They get a lot of these deadbeat boyfriends or deadbeat dads. Same with you women. Try to find a smart guy. And again, that doesn't mean he has to have a 4-year degree or he had to go to an Ivy League college or he has all the... You kind of know somebody who has their shit together, that has common sense, that is not going to hopefully put you in financial stress, spend money where they shouldn't be, maybe doing drugs or alcohol or doing things that are out of control. And things like that can happen during the years that you can't, in the future, that you can't control. But for the most part, a lot of times you know who's smart and who's dumb. You know who's right for you. You know who isn't. Don't pretend, especially at a young age, because we are really, I think, I'd hate to say this, is we're so naive when we're younger, because a lot of times we think we're going to change the people or they're going to eventually catch on. The truth is they very seldom do. And actually, I've seen over the years, being around so many alcoholics, drug addicts, and so many people that have problems, if they have problems when they're younger, like in their 20s, it usually, from what I see, gets worse, especially as they start having children. Some do smarten up, right? But a lot do not. And it gets worse because it's almost like they get depressed, or they now have more responsibility that they can't handle, which could be kids, and then especially after a divorce, they start having all these breakdowns, or they start doing a lot of erratic things, and again, they're doing it in front of your kids, or you get a divorce, they start bashing you to death, or they're programming now their kids to despise you, or they're chasing you for alimony, or they're chasing you for more money for child support, or whatever the case may be. But yeah, guys, please, take the time to find the right one. And I talk about this again, is you need to put yourself in the right place at the right time. Get yourself around smart women. Please do it for yourself. A lot of times where we hang out, there's a lot of stupid people. And I'm not saying, there's intelligent people everywhere. There's stupid people everywhere as well. And again, when I say stupid people, I hope you understand. I'm saying people that you know aren't right for you, or people that you know aren't going to help you as a human being, where you kind of understand they're very selfish too. So, yeah, and I think most men are afraid of this. Most men are really afraid to, especially if they're younger, go with somebody who has, especially a woman who has a much better career than you. They can even come from a much better family than you came from. They're intimidated with that. The woman, for the most part, in a lot of areas, looks a lot smarter than you are, right? All these things. Don't put yourself in that position. Now I'm going to flip it around, and for a lot of guys out there who think they're this shit, you may be full of shit. Because I also see a lot of guys who think that they got it going on when they don't. Or they think they deserve something that they really kind of don't. Or at least I don't think they do. So a lot of men out there are always claiming they're looking for a certain type of woman. None of them is good enough for them. Because they're either all idiots, they're all whores, they're all this, they're all that. Always kind of complaining about the opposite sex like it's always their problem, the woman. And I got a news flash for you. I would say most likely you're the problem. You just don't want to accept it. You, for one, think you're smarter than you are. You probably think you're better at sex than you are. You probably think you think you're wealthier maybe than everyone else, or I don't know if you're Ivy League. You have certain standards and nobody else can live up to them. I talk about that in my book, Wingman. And a lot of men have to realize you're not getting really good girls, smart, intelligent women, because you're kind of a jagoff, and you don't realize that. And I'm here to tell you that a lot of your behavior is probably turning off women. Even though you think you're coming off as maybe very confident, which could be good, but something I call is deflecting right off you. I call it deflecting. Women coming at you, or they want to meet you maybe, and something you're doing, saying, or behaving is pushing them away. And that's on you, most likely. I can assure you that, because if you're a cool dude and you've got your shit together, same with a woman, she's really attractive, regardless, or if she's just got a great personality and she has her shit together, you shouldn't be alone unless you want to be alone. But there's something you're doing a lot of times that puts you in a position of being alone. And it's your behavior, right? We have to all acknowledge when it comes to relationships, right? We all kind of look a certain way. But what keeps us together or pushes us apart is our behavior, our actions, the way we talk, the way we act, towards one another. Are we selfish? Are we loud? What type of problems do we bring? Because when you get into a relationship, basically, I talk about this all the time. It's like, how much of your bullshit do I got to put up with to keep this together? That's what it really comes on. How much patience does it take for me to deal with you? How much patience does it take for me to deal with, you? Or back and forth, right? Right? Him and her. Okay, I'm not gonna put up with this, but I'll put up with that. This works, that doesn't work. Well, you lie too much. You do this too much. You do that. Whatever the case may be. But again, if you are a dude who is successful that has problems dating people, a lot of times you're also maybe unrealistic, where, again, I saw this one thing once, it was quite interesting on a television show. So he's a very wealthy dude, let's just say, and he can never find a woman. It was like Millionaire Matchmaker or whatever, some bullshit. But I don't even know if this was real or scripted, but nonetheless, he's always looking for beautiful, hot women, and it never seemed to work out. I think he was in L.A. To make a long story short, was that it? I don't know. I used to actually date a girl that was on that show. That's why somebody told me to watch it. I don't know if this was the episode she was on, but nonetheless, the girl who was matching them finally said, "Hey, dude," because I think he had a kid, and he was divorced, but he refused to date a woman with a kid. He did not want to get caught up with that woman, and I get it, the kid, the ex. But he expected somebody else that he wanted to find not to, judge him because he had a kid, And I think a lot of us, to be honest, sometimes do fall in certain situations where, like, well, I'm in this situation with my kid. I don't want to deal with somebody else and their kid, right? I think sometimes I'm not saying that specific situation, but a lot of times we want things to just be our way. She insisted that he finally meets one girl who has one kid, just to meet, not date. She made them two meet up, and it was an amazing meeting. And what he finally realized, and I would have thought he would have known this, but he didn't. He liked her. And what he liked about her, the thing he liked about her is that he had so much in common with her because they each had one child. I don't know what happened if they got divorced or whatever. I don't know if they were married before, whatever the case may be. Both of the kids were around the same age. I think the girl he met was had her shit together and he had his shit together. And I think they started dating from there on out. And the point being is a lot of times you just got to be a little more open-minded, especially if you're divorced a lot of times, because I know a lot of dudes that are divorced with kids or without kids, they don't want to date a certain type of woman. They basically they only want, say some guys I know, my buddies, maybe like, they only want to date divorcees that have kids already because they don't want kids, right? Or they only want to date a certain type of woman that doesn't have kids. Or if, say this guy's got kids, he only wants to date somebody with kids or without kids, whatever the case may be. Sometimes you got to realize you got to be a lot more open-minded, and what you think you want a lot of times, or what you think will work best, doesn't always work best. So, and I talk about this all the time in my Mastering Self-Confidence, is you have to learn to experiment. Because I think a lot of times we are attracted to a certain type of woman. The only thing is, that woman a lot of times may be something we keep attracting to, but it never seems to work out, and there's a reason for that. We may want to change our direction or our approach, and that can even be nationality-wise. Say, hypothetically, I talk about it in my program, say you only like a certain type of woman. It could be black, white, Hispanic, whatever. That's my type you kind of get caught up with. But then once you realize time after time it's just not working out, you may want to try different types of women, maybe different ages even too, because you may think, I only like young girls, and then before you know it, and I know this happens with a lot of my buddies, they have nothing in common. So if they're 40 and they're dating a 25 or a 30-year-older, they may not have that as much in common as you think. But if they start dating somebody who's 42 or 38 or whatever the case may be, those 10 years, it's a huge difference, right? And those are things you got to think about. But how you do that, again, it's not only confidence, it's about being open-minded. And just like I was going back to the beginning, it's like saying, hey, I want somebody, I think, who's intelligent, who knows how to, carry themselves, somebody who's smart, somebody who really understands and is a good listener and all these type of things. So, men, please, really when it comes down to it is, don't be afraid of very intelligent women, especially women that have their shit together. And I think a lot of problems you may have is because you're dating the wrong type of woman, or you're not dating a woman that is as intelligent as you are. And I don't mean to be that as an arrogant. That same goes for women. A lot of women, I think, also, regardless what age, a lot of times they go off looks as well, maybe even personality. A lot of girls, I think, or women, they start dating guys like, man, he's got the best personality. He's a blast. I go out. All we do is laugh. We have fun. Yeah, well, how is he, you know what I mean? Is he still living with his parents? Can he not afford a car payment? Does he have a job? Oh, well, he's in and out. You got to really realize, and that's same with dudes that date younger girls too. I get it. They're a blast. They're fun, and that's wonderful. You know what I mean? And if you have a lot of money, God bless, do whatever you want to do on either end. But I think a lot of times for men that aren't always, they're trying very hard, they're, moving up in life, they get intimidated by smart women, and they don't want to admit that, or they're intimidated to date women that have more than them. I think they also think if they date those type of women, they're going to always have to be spending all this money dating. It could be traveling, shopping. That's not always the case. I can assure you, a lot of smart, intelligent women are frugal. They're smart. They know how to handle their money. They'll actually be maybe a lot different than you think when it comes to money. And also a lot of young men, I think, or men in general, think women that have a lot, it's weird how this gets classified, because women sometimes are classified, which blows me away, as either a gold digger, which is kind of ironic, whatever, that every woman that, they're gold diggers, shut the hell up. Or if they have a lot of things, possessions or things, and they're single or they've been divorced, they're high maintenance. So it's kind of like you're a gold digger, you're high maintenance. It's kind of like you're throwing all these things at women where if they look good and they take care of themselves, which a lot of men really appreciate, that they're high maintenance. Well, they just have their shit together, dude. You got to realize that, right? So, something to think about. I'm going to wrap it up there. If you like any of the crazy shit I talk about, you can go to masteringselfconfidence.com. I try to help men find the woman or women of their dreams, even if they've been through a bad breakup or divorce. You can also go to my website, richcelenza.com. And I'm on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn as well. So, yeah, please, men, stop being intimidated. Find a smart woman, hopefully an educated woman. I'm telling you, education goes a long way. And again, I'm not telling you you got to run out and start hanging out at Harvard Square or start going to, seminars with people from Princeton or, getting caught up in that. There are so many smart women out there that I think are single, but a lot of them, too, are very busy with their careers, right? And a lot of them are busy doing a lot of things that you may not be used to. You may be used to dating women that are more available, let's say. So if you are going to meet intelligent women that are educated or have careers, you have to learn to be a little more patient with them and realize it's not always about you, and be a little open-minded. And you may have to help them, or you may have to be more available than maybe before, and just try to work into their schedule and make things work out, right? All right, I'm going to wrap it up there. Take care, and if you're traveling, safe travels.